My dear friends, what if the exhaustion you feel is not from doing too much, but from pretending to be someone you are not? What if the sudden urge to change your life, to leave what is familiar, to question everything you were taught, is not confusion, but remembrance? Pause for a moment. Think about the last few months of your life. Have you felt restless for no visible reason? Have you felt emotionally sensitive, almost raw? Have you felt like the world around you is moving, but you're observing it from a deeper, quieter place? If this keeps happening, you are not breaking down. You are breaking open. And today, we are going to walk through this sacred transition together. Before we go deeper, if this message already feels personal, subscribe to Inner Divine. Write in the comments, I feel the shift. Let the algorithm carry this message to every soul that feels alone in their transformation. Share it with someone who is quietly evolving. Now breathe slowly and listen carefully. There is a stage in life where the outer world begins to lose its grip on you. Achievements no longer excite you the way they once did. Recognition feels temporary. Pleasure feels shallow. You look at things you once desperately wanted, and they feel strangely small. This is not loss of ambition. It is expansion of consciousness. Your soul is demanding depth over distraction. You begin to notice how much of society runs on autopilot. People chasing approval. People repeating patterns. People defending identities they never consciously chose. And suddenly, you cannot do it anymore. You cannot pretend. You cannot participate in conversations that feel empty. You cannot laugh at things that feel cruel. You cannot compete in races that have no meaning. This discomfort is sacred, because awakening begins with dissatisfaction. As taught by, the soul becomes restless when it has outgrown its cage. And that restlessness is divine. You may feel alone during this phase. Friends may say you've changed. Family may not understand your silence. Colleagues may think you've lost your drive. But what they don't see is that your drive has shifted direction. It no longer moves outward. It moves inward. You crave solitude, not because you hate people, but because silence feels alive. You sit alone, and instead of boredom, you feel expansion. Thoughts slow down. Breathing deepens. Awareness widens. Sometimes you stare at the sky and feel tears forming for no reason. That is not sadness. That is recognition. Your soul recognizes something infinite, and your body cannot fully contain it. And then come the emotional waves. One day you feel powerful, clear, aligned. The next day you feel fragile and uncertain. Old memories surface. Childhood wounds reappear. Regrets knock at your door. This is not regression. This is purification. When consciousness rises, everything unresolved must be released. You are not becoming more emotional. You are becoming more honest. You are allowing yourself to feel what you once suppressed. Awakening strips away numbness. And when numbness disappears, sensitivity returns. You may also notice your intuition growing stronger. You sense when something is wrong before evidence appears. You feel when a decision is misaligned, even if it looks perfect on paper. You walk away from opportunities that once would have impressed everyone. Logic starts to bow to inner knowing, and that knowing feels ancient. As if something within you has always known the way. Synchronicities increase. You think of someone, they message you. You ask for guidance. A sentence appears in a book, a video, a conversation. You repeatedly encounter the same themes, the same symbols, the same lessons. Life begins to feel orchestrated. Not controlled, but intelligent. You realize that reality is layered. There is what you see, and there is what moves beneath what you see. You begin to sense that you are not just a personality navigating circumstances. You are awareness experiencing them. And this realization changes everything. Fear begins to loosen. You worry less about image, less about reputation, less about fitting into structures that suffocate your authenticity. You become comfortable being different. Not loudly, not rebelliously, just quietly, firmly. You no longer argue to prove yourself. You no longer chase validation. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You become still. And that stillness carries power. Awakening also brings compassion. You begin to see how everyone is carrying invisible pain. How anger hides fear. How arrogance hides insecurity. How cruelty hides wounds. You judge less. You observe more. You forgive, not because others deserve it, but because your heart refuses to carry poison. You feel a call toward service. Not necessarily dramatic service. Sometimes it's simply listening deeply, speaking truth gently, creating something that uplifts instead of distracts. You feel responsible for your energy. You understand that your presence affects rooms. You choose peace intentionally. And yet, awakening is not constant bliss. There are nights of doubt. Moments where you miss your old ignorance because it felt easier. Moments where you wonder if you are overthinking everything. Moments where you feel suspended between two worlds, the old one you've outgrown and the new one not fully formed. This in-between space is sacred. It is the chrysalis. The caterpillar cannot imagine wings while dissolving inside transformation. And neither can you fully imagine who you are becoming. But trust this. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding what was never truly you. According to the wisdom shared by, the purpose of life is to realize the divine within. Not intellectually, but experientially. Awakening is that realization beginning to dawn. It is when you stop identifying only with your body, your story, your achievements. It is when you feel, even for a second, that you are something vast, something untouched by time. Have you ever had a moment where everything went silent inside? No fear, no craving, no comparison, just presence. That is a glimpse. And once you taste that presence, the world can never fully hypnotize you again. If this keeps happening, if you feel detached from drama, if you crave authenticity over approval, if you sense intelligence guiding your path, if you feel emotionally raw yet strangely stronger, if your dreams become vivid, if you question reality itself, you are awakening. Do not rush it. Do not label it. Do not turn it into ego. Stay humble. Stay curious. Read. Reflect. Meditate. Observe your thoughts without becoming them. Speak less. Listen more. Let your nervous system stabilize. Let your body integrate the shifts. Transformation is not about becoming extraordinary. It is about becoming real. You may lose people. You may lose habits. You may lose identities. But what you gain is alignment. And alignment feels like peace without a reason. It feels like strength without aggression. It feels like love without possession. And eventually, one day, you will look back at this confusing, uncomfortable, beautiful period of your life. And you will whisper, that was the moment everything began. If this message touched something inside you, subscribe to Inner Divine. Comment below, I am awakening. Let others know they are not alone. Share this with someone who feels different lately, someone who senses the shift but cannot explain it. You are not falling apart. You are remembering who you have always been. And that remembrance is the beginning of freedom.